Welcome back to the Net Utils Tech Roundup. Today I'm joined by technical consultant David Hone. David is going to talk us through the Digital Economy Act 2010 to help service providers and corporations better understand how they may be affected by these regulations, what their responsibilities are in relation to them, and critically, where the liability lies. So David, can you start by giving us an overview, please, of the Act?
Okay, to understand why this Act came into place, we need to roll back a little bit and understand the traditional method of selling copyright material. So here we got our copyright creator, he or she creating music, videos, whatever. And traditionally, the method of distributing the works would have been by way of CD, DVD, etc. And that CD or DVD would have been sold in the shop. And when that CD or DVD was sold, there would have been tax applied to it, which would have gone directly to the government here. However, things have somewhat moved on a little bit, and we're now in what we call the digital age, and the CD is somewhat disappearing, vanishing. So this guy here, his way of, or method of just redistributing his work is by way of the ISP, and the cloud as we call it now. So when this household here wants some music or video or whatever, the process that they go through normally would go into the cloud, search for the content that they want to provide, and pay for that content, and the revenue of that content would, in theory, go directly to the copyright holder.
Okay, so now with the boom in the digital age, this has somewhat changed, hasn't it, in that we've got the piracy element here, whereby people are taking the copyrighted content here and selling it directly to the householder. So can you explain a little bit more about what the Digital Economy Act does to sort of plug the gap that's existing here?
Okay, yeah, correct. So what's happening now is all this guy's revenue has been, and profit is in his chest, is somewhat being lost to this guy here, the pirate. Not only is his revenue being lost, but tax to the government is being lost in terms of any sales that he makes. And what's basically happening is this household here is going out onto the internet, searching for the content, and finding that this content is either free or at very reduced price. And then they're going directly to this guy here, which is the pirate guy, to get that content.
Okay, so that's becoming a really big issue. So what does the Digital Economy Act do to you know, plug that hole, basically? Okay.
So the Digital Economy Act has been designed such that it empowers this guy here, the copyright owner, to be able to find out who this guy is ultimately.
Right.
And it starts by he or she essentially doing the same as the end user of the product would do, by going out into the internet to discover who is reselling his or her copyright material.
Okay.
And once he then finds out that this guy here is reselling the material, he can then discover whose ISP this guy belongs to, and make what they call a CIR request to the internet service provider, which is a copyright infringement report.
Okay.
If he or she makes more than 3 such reports, the ISP can be requested to provide a list of people that have had 3 or more reports logged against them. Okay. That then enables this guy to go to the government to obtain a prosecution request to the ISP to release the information about who this guy actually is. Okay,
so that's placing an awful lot of responsibility on the internet service provider. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the ISPs need to do in terms of keeping those records, and what kind of fines can they expect to have to pay should they be found not to be keeping adequate records in this area?
So the ISP needs to act upon requests from the original copyright owner, such that when the copyright owner makes a request to the ISP for information regarding or a CIR infringement, the ISP needs to keep that as a record, as to a tick in the box as that there's been a request made against this particular IP address, etc.
Okay.
If the ISP does not conform to these regulations, then the ISP can potentially stands a liability aspect of 250,000 per copyright infringement.
Okay, so it's all about keeping these adequate records and reporting. Thank you very much for talking us through that, David. That was really, really helpful. Network Utilities specialises and works with a number of ISPs governed by this law. The important point to remember here is that for any organisation that's offering guest or open Wi-Fi access, then they too should consider protecting their own liability by implementing measures that protects their organisation in the event of misuse. So do please get in touch with Network Utilities to find out more. Thank you.